Sand stretches for 1,000 miles, but the Sahara is lying to you. Beneath these waves of heat, there was once a sea so deep that sharks and giant snakes hunted where the dunes now burn. Every fossil pulled from under the sand is evidence that nothing about this place is normal, and the real story is not finished. If you're into documentaries where reality quietly turns inside out, make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss a video. 50 million years ago, a shallow sea cut straight through what is now the heart of the Sahara. This was not a single unbroken flood, but 6 great pulses, each one pushing salt water deep into West Africa, then draining away, only to return again. At its fullest, the Trans-Saharan Seaway stretched across nearly 3,000 square kilometers, and the water was never much deeper than about 50 meters, roughly the height of a 5-story building. These were not the crushing depths of an open ocean, but a warm, sunlit corridor running between ancient continents. The shape of this seaway was always in flux. Sometimes it linked the Atlantic in the west with the Tethys Ocean in the east, creating a marine bridge that split the continent in two. At other times, the water retreated, leaving isolated basins and pockets of stranded life. Each advance and retreat carved new shorelines, scattered new islands, and remade the map of Africa from the inside out. Paleogeologists like Maureen O'Leary have spent decades tracing these vanished waterways, piecing together the story from rock layers and fossil clues. Their maps show a corridor that pulsed with life, vanished, and returned again and again. With every cycle, the seaway changed its own rules. One year, a shallow lagoon. 1,000 years later, a brackish swamp. Then suddenly, a corridor wide enough for marine giants to roam from horizon to horizon. This constant reshaping set the stage for something strange. When water is shallow, warm, and often cut off from the rest of the world, evolution goes off script. The seaway's repeated isolation created islands not just of land, but of water, trapping species, driving them to grow larger and forcing predators and prey into new forms of survival. The Sahara's sand now covers the memory of these changes, but the patterns remain, written in stone, waiting for anyone who can read the map beneath the dunes. The next reveal could already be inches from daylight. Isolation is not just a matter of land. In the Trans-Saharan Seaway, even the water itself could become an island. Each time the sea retreated and returned, it left behind pockets, warm, shallow basins cut off from the open ocean, sometimes for centuries. Inside these watery traps, ordinary rules stopped applying. Nutrients washed in from ancient rivers, collecting in the stillness, feeding blooms of plankton and clouds of invertebrates. With nowhere else to go, prey multiplied, and so did the hunters. A shallow sea like this does not have the endless blue of the open Atlantic. Instead, it is a world of corners and dead ends, where a predator could rule its territory unchecked. Cut off from outside competition, the biggest fish and reptiles could keep growing, generation after generation. The result? Animals that outgrew their own ancestors and matched nothing found elsewhere. Fossils from these deposits show jaws and vertebrae that hint at creatures stretching far beyond the size of their modern relatives. The seaway's geography also played a role. With every pulse, the corridor narrowed, then widened again. Sometimes 2 basins would connect, letting populations mix in a sudden burst of new genes and new traits. Other times, a sandbar or a drop in sea level would trap entire species in a shrinking pool, forcing them to adapt or die. In these moments, evolution ran on fast forward. The constant change created a patchwork of isolated habitats, each with its own rules and its own monsters. Some basins became cauldrons of competition, where only the largest could survive. Others became refuges, where ancient lineages clung on as the world outside shifted. This is why the Sahara's fossil record is so strange, why the bones hidden under the sand belong to animals that seem both familiar and impossible. The story written in these rocks is not just about extinction, it is about what happens when nature is forced into a corner and the only way out is to become something the world has never seen before. The sand covers it now, but the evidence is still there, waiting for the next gust of wind to tell the rest of the story. Beneath the sand, the evidence isn't subtle. In the heart of the Sahara, paleontologists have uncovered vertebrae from a snake longer than a city bus, over 12 meters, nearly 40 feet of muscle and bone. This was no myth. The bones are thick. The jaws are built for swallowing prey whole. The size alone rewrites the rules of what a snake can be. Alongside these giants, the remains of catfish, almost 2 meters long, more than 6 feet, turn up in the same fossil beds. These are not fragile traces of small creatures swept in by chance. Their skulls are broad, their spines heavy, built for a world where size meant survival. The scale is hard to process. It is not just that these animals were large for their kind. They were large by any standard, even compared to predators in today's oceans. The sand has sealed them in, but the bones tell a clear story. This was a place where the ordinary rules did not apply. Every fossil is a contradiction. Marine monsters stranded in a desert that has not seen a real river in thousands of years. The further scientists dig, the more impossible the evidence becomes. But finding these bones is not a simple matter of digging and dusting. The Sahara itself is a barrier, and it decides who gets to see what is hidden below. At midday, the Sahara's heat does not just press down, it tries to erase you. Temperatures spike to 125 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cook the logic out of a compass. Even the most seasoned field teams rely on Tuareg guides, whose knowledge of shifting dunes and hidden wells can mean the difference between a discovery and a disappearance. Out here, the sand is not passive. A single storm can bury a fossil bed overnight, or peel back a new layer that has not seen daylight in millions of years. The desert decides what gets revealed, and for how long. But the Sahara is not just a test of endurance. It is a place where history flips, sometimes without warning. Around 14,500 years ago, this wasteland turned green. Lakes dotted the horizon, rivers cut through grasslands, and hippos grazed where only sand now stretches. For nearly 10,000 years, the so-called Green Sahara was alive with water, trees, and people. Then just as suddenly, the switch flipped again. The rain stopped. The land dried out. What was once a savanna became a furnace, and the stories of that lost world were sealed under new dunes. Today, the hunt for the Sahara's secrets has gone digital. Researchers launch drones over the emptiest stretches, scanning for subtle changes in the sand. Satellites track the migration of dunes, pinpointing spots where wind has scraped away enough cover to expose ancient bones. At Wadi al-Hitan, Whale Valley in Egypt, these tools have helped scientists like Philip D. Gingerich uncover skeletons of whales that swam here 40 million years ago. Each find is a reminder the desert is not finished. The next gust of wind could rewrite what we think we know. The Sahara is still watching, still hiding, still deciding what we are allowed to see. Every time the wind shifts, the Sahara rewrites what we think we know about our planet. Its secrets aren't ancient, they're active, reshaping science and reminding us that nothing stays buried forever. The next world-changing fossil could appear tomorrow. I'm just a small channel trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. If you want to help me out, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next video.